assuredly, because the question has just been asked to him, why couldn't we do it? Because of your unbelief. For assuredly I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will go. Now, just if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. It will go. Nothing, reading that with me now, and nothing, you reading it with me? I want you to get it. That's your word. Nothing will be impossible for you. People say all the time, you got the whole world. You got the whole world. You could be the president of the United States. I don't know who's going to be the next president, but I got a prediction. It's either going to be a black guy, a white woman, or a white man. So far. Tradition tells us it's going to be a white man. Tradition tells us. Can you imagine if it's a woman? That's going to be the first woman president of the United States. If it's a woman. If it's a black man, forget the man part, it's going to be the first black person who's ever been the president of the United States. See, somebody had to be the first something somewhere. I simply say that because, see, if I went back there and lined those guys up, that had those same group of seniors walk up, if I shook them by the hand and I said, what do you think the odds are you could be president? They would say, slim to none, no chance at all. It's impossible. I couldn't do that. You've already decided. What about being head of the class? What about starting playing football? What about starting? Don't just go just to be there. Don't go to just be on the team. Don't be satisfied with just excel. God is with me. Who can be? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself. Romans 8:31. Get that up there first. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? See, we're not tapping in. We're not tapping in to the potent power of God. He didn't say, I said it, so who can be against me? He said, if God be for us, who can be against us? Now, I got to go back to the other verse just a minute. The question was asked, why couldn't we cast it? It was a demon. Why couldn't we cast it out? Jesus gave a qualifying, conditional answer. Because of your unbelief, you couldn't do it. Because of your unbelief. See, I've told you in the second point, we put limitations on ourselves, and then we run to God and say, God, you must fix this, for I have messed it up. God looks at it and says, I don't see messed up. I see lack of faith. I don't see the problem you see, because I'm the problem solver. I see a necessity of faith. You know what's wild about that verse? He doesn't say, if you had a 5-gallon bucket of faith, whoo, I could do something with you. He doesn't say, if you had a gallon bucket of faith. He doesn't say, if you had 2 cups of faith. He doesn't say, if you could just get a spoonful of faith. He said, if you had faith like a grain of mustard seed, the smallest of the seeds. You say, preacher, that's not very much faith. Surely I have that much faith. You know what you have faith for? You have faith for the other guy. If somebody else says, I believe God's going to do this, you'll say, I agree. I'm with you, man. I'm for you. I believe with you. Because you're believing in their faith. But we don't do it for ourselves. We don't have even so much as a grain of mustard, a seed of the smallest seeds of the amount of faith it takes to believe God would do something for me, because you know what most of us think? I'm not worthy of God's blessing. It's easy for me to believe for the other person, but I'm not sure about me. The world is not your potential if you're going to do that. And you're not God's potential if you're going to do that. And God is not your potential if you're going to do that. You must understand that this is God's will for every single person. This is the will of God, that you receive the power and the abilities from God, that everything He wants for you will come to pass if you'll believe Him for it. My wife's one of her favorite verses is Jeremiah 29:11. We just discussed this verse the other day. I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord. Plans to prosper you. Prosperity gospel, not a bad thing. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. The problem is we go around singing, Que sera, sera. Whatever happens must be God's will. It says He has a plan for you, plans to prosper you and to not harm you. And so if those plans aren't coming, you're not tapping in. You're not tapping into the power and the potential that God has for you and that you have for God. Oh, yes, of course, did I mention there are requirements. You got to live for God.